Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in. But before I get to the video, I'd like to set a few things up. So when I ended the show back in April, it was because I had a very busy summer planned. And since we've talked, I've been to casinos in Oklahoma, Kansas, Missouri, Colorado, and even to Las Vegas twice. We've also had a daughter graduate from college, moved her across the state, helped her get established in her own home, and we've even looked at a couple of wedding venues, tried a few new restaurants, and we landscaped the backyard. We've traveled to Indiana, met with some old friends, made road trips to St. Louis and Tulsa, and spent precious time with our family. And we've had family come stay with us for an extended visit. So yes, I've been very busy, but the show's never been far from my mind. I've started some discussions with a few potential guests, and we've begun planning and scheduling. I just have one more big summertime activity to do. I'm going to play host to Heavy from axispowercraps for his very first seminar here in Wichita, Kansas. We still have a few seats available for the seminar, so I sat down with Heavy yesterday and we talked about what a typical seminar looks like. The next 15 minutes or so is from that conversation. So if you've ever wondered what he covers in his seminars, stick around. He's going to talk us through the game plan for the axispowercraps seminar here in my home in Wichita, Kansas. So sit back, enjoy the interview, and I'll be back with an all-new season in just a few more weeks. Hey, good afternoon, everybody, and thanks for joining in. Here in a couple of weeks, we've got a very special event happening here in Wichita, Kansas. Steve, Heavy, Haltom, is going to be here in my house doing his axispowercraps seminar. So to talk about it, we brought Heavy on. Heavy, welcome.
Hey, what's going on, my friend? Good to see you again.
Yeah, man, it's good to see you. It's actually been a heartbeat since we've seen each other. All right, so here in a couple of weeks, August 20th and 21st, you're going to be here in my house, in my craps pit, doing your famous axispowercraps seminar. Now, I understand we still have a few empty seats that we need to fill?
Looks like we've got 2 to 3 seats, depending on a couple of people that are tentative right now. As we mentioned before, we have a few people that have been down ill. And I've got some people that are looking at flight arrangements that were originally planning to come to the class when we'd scheduled it for Kansas City. Some of you folks may not know this class was originally supposed to be in Kansas City, but my daughter, also known as the Flea, moved out of her house in Kansas City into an apartment, and we lost the use of my Kansas City table, which has since been sold to one of our buddies in Kansas City, my friend Rob Downs, who's actually going to be at this class with us. He's not bringing the table, though. We're going to be using David's table at this class. So we're going to have a great time at David's house. We're going to throw some dice. I'm going to show you some fun stuff, teach you some things you've probably never seen before. I hope not. And I'm going to show you some stuff with math that you need to learn. In fact, one of the first things we're going to show you involves a little pyramid that I keep set up on my table all the time, and I'm going to send you a picture of it so you can share it with our visitors in this video.
Excellent, excellent. Okay, well, that sounds great. So we're going to learn a little bit of math, but what about fundamentals? Are we going to learn, different grips, or what? Tell me the structure of your class.
Fundamentals. Back in the old days, when we talked about dice control, what did it consist of? It consisted of a few old timers around that knew a couple of things about setting the dice. They knew that you could set them basically with any pair on the top, pick them up and toss them carefully down the table, and maybe you'd get repeating numbers. Now, I can recall this from 20, 25, 30 years ago when the old timers would say, pick up the dice, put the 5s on the top, and chunk them down there. Now, that was their solution. Put the 5s on the top. Now, that's one way to start. But they didn't care what numbers were facing them, what numbers were on the exterior, the sides, the lateral faces, the axis, as I call it, of the dice, what numbers were facing down table. Well, back around 2001 or so, I started taking a serious look at the different combinations of the dice. I came up with a card that looks like this today.
Okay.
Yeah, what we'll work on individually with you, we'll look at your setup, your stance at the table, how you're standing. We'll look at how you grip the dice. We'll go through the whole process of how you're picking up and setting the dice, your stance once you set the dice, how you grip them. Then we're going to look at your entire, what we call saber approach. We're going to look at how you set the dice, how you aim, what your landing zone is on the table. Then we want you to breathe in, breathe out, relax, and then execute, toss, and hit that landing spot. Now, the key to this is accuracy and repetition. We want you to be able to have confidence, we want you to have control, and we want you to execute this toss consistently over and over and over. That's going to come with practice. So, we're looking with basically establishing a baseline toss over the weekend that you can repeat consistently when you get home.
Okay. So, why Wichita? Let's talk about that for just a minute. You mentioned that Kansas City is the normal go-to, and why we can't make it there. But I'm just a few hours south of there, Wichita,
That's right.
Kansas. Yeah, and I've got a full 14-foot table in my basement, so we can easily accommodate, the 10 or so people that we'd like to have here at the seminar. And now, at the end of the day, at least I plan on going over to the Kansas Star, our local casino, and I assume that some of the others will join us. Would you join us in a after hours game?
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's part of the pleasure for me in going to do these weekends is getting out after the class and playing with the students. In this class, we had one student who admittedly never bet the 4 and 10, even though when reviewing his practice results, we saw that the 4 and 10 were secondary dominant numbers for him. Based on looking at over 600 rolls, there was no reason for him not to bet the 4 and 10. In fact, he was losing money by not betting them. So
Yeah.
we went to the casino after convincing him, hey, you need to bet the 4 and 10. He took a $15 10 up to $500 and made $350 on it. He'd never bet the 4 and 10 in his life. And then, a few hours later, he's got $500 on the 10 and has made $350 on it. This guy has now got confidence to bet the 4 and 10, and he will make money on it going forward. Another thing we teach in our betting strategy class, it's about a 40% mix of right side play and dark side play. So it's 40-40, and then about 20% of it is blended or transitional play where you're moving from the don'ts to the right side or vice versa. We want to make sure that we can be able to play both sides of this game, and we want the players to be intelligent enough to do it. One way to do that is through a strategy we call one hit can't miss. And there are dozens of options off one hit can't miss once you get that first don't bet established. So the key is to get that first don't bet established. Then where you go from there, possibilities are endless.
Let's recap a little bit here. So the day of the seminar,
Yeah,
it's a Saturday and a Sunday. So
yep,
Saturday we're going to spend all day at the craps pit. We're going to be learning to
exactly.
grip. We're going to be practicing. We're going to learn maybe I don't know. I know you're going to do your advanced betting strategy on Sunday, but will you cover any betting
Right.
strategies with
Yeah.
the group at large?
In fact, Saturday morning we start out with a little bit of math, and I will explain the math of the game, the odds of the game, in a way you've never seen it explained before. I will explain it from a random roller perspective, and I will cover it from an advantage player perspective.
Okay.
I will show you what you can expect with a 7 to rolls ratio of 7 and 8, and why dice influencers with 7 to rolls ratios of 7 and 8 continue to go to the tables and lose day after day after day. Because why? because they don't know how to bet their own hands, number one, and they bet on everybody else's hands, number two. So, we'll cover that first, and I'll probably cover a couple of simple betting strategies during that part. That's the first thing I cover. The second thing I cover, and you hear it every time in every class I do, is casino etiquette. We'll talk about that before we even get into the dice control. Buddy, if you don't know not to buy in when the puck is on, you're going to know it when you leave this class. If you don't know not to throw those late bets in when I'm standing there with the dice in my hand, I'm telling you, if a chip bounces in the middle and hits my hand when I'm about to throw the dice, I'm picking it up and bouncing it off your forehead. So you need to know, get those late bets in early, because if the dice are out, I am not a happy camper. Being that as a bay. Once we cover that stuff, then we get right into going around the table and working on tosses. So, and we'll work with everyone tossing from stick left or stick right, their preferred position, or straight out if that's their preferred position. Okay. We'd like to let everyone work from their preferred position first. Then after we've done that, we like to work with everyone from an alternate position. So, guys, if you've never tossed from straight out on a 14-foot table, get ready, because odds are you're going to toss from straight out on a 14-foot table before the weekend's over. And don't be afraid, because David said he'd pick up all the dice off the floor. We'll find somebody to shag dice. We'll find a dice shagger somewhere in the room.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to work on tossing from alternate positions for a fact. Okay. At the end of the day, after everyone's had all the toss time they can possibly stand, I like to work through some betting strategies if we have time. I prefer to cover some of the right side betting strategies that afternoon if we can, because that gives me more time to focus on the don't stuff on the morning session on Sunday. But we'll see how that plays out. We'll have plenty of time. The other thing that I will mention is that occasionally we will have a no sevens competition on Saturday afternoon, where everyone gets to compete against you and I to see who's the best shooter.
I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, we'll see if we want to put that on film or not, right?
Well, and I guess that's actually a good point. One of the things that we do plan on doing in this particular seminar is we're going to do some limited filming. We'll use that for promotional material going forward. Everything will be, of course, blessed by you before it's made to the public. But this will be a chance for those who cannot make this particular seminar to see what truly happens behind the scenes. Help influence maybe a future decision to go to one of the places listed below: Las Vegas, Biloxi, Kansas City if that comes back, or a craps cruise. I think you've been known to do some of your seminars on the craps cruise as well.
Yeah, we do basically 2-hour sessions at sea days on the cruise ships.
So Heavy, if anybody's interested in taking this particular class, what's the best way to reach you?
Well, you can always email me at axispowercraps@gmail.com. That's my email address, and I'll always answer that. The links for registration on this are available on the Facebook group, which is Heavy's Axis Power Craps group, and on Heavy's Wrong Way Craps group. There are also links on my website, which are axispowercraps.com and crapsfest.com. And there are links in my craps forum, which is axispowercraps.com/craps forum. Man, we got links all over the place. So
I'll capture all of those and I'll put them in the description. So if anybody is interested in taking this particular class, I'll help you get to the right place to register. And if all else fails, just email me, samebet777gmail.com, and I'll get you to the right place.
What a country.
Yeah. All right, Heavy, I
Any
think
other
this is
questions?
good. Yeah, I was going to say, I think that we should wrap this up. This was just meant to be a quick little promo of the upcoming class. It's really good to see you again. It's been a long time since we've been on the screen
Yeah,
together.
you too.
So I'm looking forward to it. And after we've had this class, Heavy, I'm going to invite you to come back when we spin back up the Same Bet show this fall. So
We'll do it.
Start thinking about some of your war stories that we want to hash around
What do I have
when we
war
come
stories?
back.
I just have to keep them PG-13, right?
There you go. That can sometimes be a challenge. All right, guys,
For
that's
me.
going to do it for today. Yeah, so that's going to do it for today. Like I said, this is a quick little promo of a class that's coming up. If you've ever wanted to take a class from Heavy, this is the time to do it. It's going to be in a very small setting. The fees are a little bit reduced because the overhead's a little bit lower. There's never been a better time. Plus, hey, you get me this time. I may not be the best shooter at the table, but I am a gracious host, and I look forward to seeing everybody. All right, that's going to do it for today. Thank you, everybody, and we'll catch you next time.